Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Etcetera with the Woodards. I'm your host for this evening, Craig Woodard Sr., and this is episode 69. I am so happy that you all are here to join me tonight. I have a special guest that I'm going to bring on in just a couple of minutes. We're going to have a fantastic discussion. Tonight's discussion, we're going to talk about Erie, Pennsylvania, the community. We're going to talk about a number of different things. So please make sure you tune in and keep us dialed in. It's going to be fantastic here. I want to start off talking about the Down Syndrome Association of Tampa Bay. As you all know, I am the executive director and president of the Down Syndrome Association of Tampa Bay, and March 21st is a huge day for the Down syndrome community. What does that day entail? Well, it is World Down Syndrome Day, March 21st. Every year is World Down Syndrome Day. And what we're asking you to do is to wear some crazy colored socks, some wild colored socks on that day. People will understand what that means. The reason why you're going to do that is because you're showing support for individuals blessed with Down syndrome, support for this ability, as I like to call it. But what it really represents is the different colors in the socks represent the different colors of chromosomes. So we always rock those socks on World Down Syndrome Day on March 21st. Speaking of March 21st, we have one of our largest fundraisers coming up. It's called Down the Bowl 5. My vice president, Drew Garabo from Drew Garabo Live at 102.5 The Bone, will be hosting our big fundraiser called Down the Bowl 5. It is going to be incredible. There are only 10 lanes left, so you make sure that you get your lane. It's $100 per bowler, $200 for two bowlers, $400 for a foursome. If you'd like to sponsor a lane, and there's some details there, I can put you in contact with Chris Dixon from 102.5 The Bone. But sponsorship for a lane is $1,000. And of course, you can register and see the details on my website, www.dsatb.org. Click on upcoming events, look at the Down to Bowl 5, and the link is right there for you to go ahead and sign up and register. So you do not want to miss this event. Last year, we raised over $30,000. These funds help us go back into the Down syndrome community, and it provides free programming, free speech therapy, free occupational therapy, and it covers all the expenses that we have so that our families can have all of these programs and services free of charge. So please, get involved. Down the Bowl 5 on World Down Syndrome Day, which is March 21st. It's going to be from noon to 3 o'clock at Pin Chasers. We have switched locations. This Pin Chasers is over at the Veterans in Hillsborough Avenue. So different location this year, same fun that we're going to have. Okay. So can't wait for this wonderful event to happen. Okay. We're going to slide in my wonderful guest here. Here we go right now. We got student minister Victor Muhammad from Muhammad Mosque 22 in Pittsburgh, Nation of Islam. Brother Victor, thank you so much for lending your most important time for you to be here with me tonight. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to be here, and even more of an honor with your nonprofit. It took me back to ninth grade where I volunteered for the Special Olympics from the time I was in ninth grade to the time
Oh,
I
wow.
graduated. And I thought it was going to be a fun day away from school, but
Yeah.
it grabbed my heart where I worked with Down syndrome people as
Mhm.
well as soon as I graduated from high school. So it's an honor to be with someone serving the community such as yourself.
Blessed. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your service in the past as well, and of course for what you do right now. Just I want to get right into it, man. I asked you a question the other day on the phone. I said, "Hey, what is it that you want to talk about first?" And you said Erie, and I said, "Let's do it, man." So you've been involved in activism for quite some time. Let's kind of go back. How did you get involved in activism?
I guess pretty much like most people do. You don't choose it; it chooses you.
Yes.
And when I heard the words, uh, I was in the Air Force, and I heard the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on Donahue.
Hmm.
And when I heard those words, I needed to find that man. And lo and behold, the Air Force was having an early out program.
Hmm.
And 2 weeks later, I was out of the Air Force with an honorable discharge, and I went to find the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And when I
Wow.
heard the truth and what we need to do as a people for ourselves, I just got involved, and the rest is history.
Wow, wow, man. Well, I'm so glad that you made that decision, man. I remember that Donahue episode back in the day. It was very pivotal for TV and for Black people as a whole, man. So I can understand why you made that move. Um, when we talk about Erie, of course, we talk about another pivotal unfortunate incident that occurred back on July 2nd with my cousin Marcello Woodard that was shot and killed by his parole agent, Kevin Seelinger. Um, from that point, me and a bunch of other, you know, friends of mine, we got together and jumped off the porch and said, what can we do? We got to do something. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and this is wrong. And we started, man. We started to go in and do all types of stuff, man. We did the uh, going down to city council, going down to county council. We held protests. We've been crushing social media. I shifted gears and pivoted a little bit on my podcast that I was running for 4 months prior to this happening and dedicating time so we can educate people about different things about this public outcry. Um, and that brought you early in to Erie. Talk about your interest in Erie, Pennsylvania, and especially this case with Marcello Woodard.
Well, if you study the way the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's history of rebuilding the Nation of Islam, he crisscrossed the country. But at his very early stages, when he joined the Nation of Islam, he told the brothers class that he was going to take this message to every nook and cranny of the United States. And we know he's been very successful in doing that. And so Erie is one of those nooks and crannies that is forgotten about by the rest of the world that has a very unique positioning if you grew up there, and a very not understood culture if you did not grow up there.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a town very similar to Erie in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where you see that Black people are very talented,
Mm-hmm.
but their talents are exploited for everybody else's use and not their own.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to make sure that we can unify the Erie with the current initiative of the Nation of Islam, which is to we must make our communities a decent and safe place to live. Erie is well below the national poverty level as a city, but as a county, that drops considerably, where
Right.
it's only 14% poverty rate, but Erie itself has a 27 to 36% poverty rate. The school system is underperforming. You have people who cannot be educated properly because the priority is not put in the school. And since it's an impoverished school, those who can afford to have just abandoned the public schools and put their children in private schools. So it is up to us as a community, regardless of religion,
Yeah.
to get in among the people of Erie and work in a unified manner to put the people's skills to work. Jesus said it in the Bible that there was a colt and a donkey tied up in the town. Go get them and tell them the master has need for them. Well,
Mm,
if they're going to allow our people to live in poverty and languish in poverty, untie them. Minister Farrakhan can help them find a way to help themselves.
yeah, yeah. I grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania, right on 25th and French, and my grandparents were on 25th and 23rd, both of them. Grandfather Francis and grandfather Woodard. Uh, it's unfortunate to see how things have changed over the course of time.
Hmm.
Over the years, we used to go outside, man. We would go outside and play, man. You can name all the games you want outside of the basketball, football, tag, freeze tag, you name it. We did it. We were outside playing. There were no issues. We didn't have any issues. If there were any scuffles or fights amongst the group, an hour later you were playing ball together again. We all had to be in the house when the street lights turned on. That was just what it was. If you got thirsty, you grabbed somebody's water hose and you got some water. I think that, and this is a lead in, I do my research. This is a lead in to a lot of the kids playing a lot of these video games now. And they're in there gaming and playing all these shooting games and all that. And I saw you made some comments before about this. What is your take on how things have changed over the course of time? And we've also allowed the government to step in to actually prevent us from being able to raise our kids the way that we were raised.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's very interesting that you mentioned the video games because what scientists are finding that the same technology that they're using to play Fortnite
Yeah.
or maybe Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto is the same technology that the soldiers were using for drones out of Oklahoma.
Hmm.
But the one thing they were finding that even though they were killing people from Oklahoma overseas, they were still suffering from the same PTSD
Hmm.
as a soldier would that was on the battlefield. So they're finding now that the video games, and though killing is simulated, the emotions are still running the same. They're
Right.
still, if you have any children of any age that play video games, you'll think somebody's robbing your house when you pull up on the house, how much they're yelling.
True.
And you talk about raising them the way we was raised, you can't even whip them anymore. You want
Exactly.
to get your child's attention, unplug the Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and then they will come running as soon as possible. But the reality is we have people in our homes that we don't even know is there because they're on the in the headphones of our children. So now not only are the video games teaching our children how to stage and sniper and commit crimes, but also children are being abducted
Hmm.
by adults getting on platforms. So we want to be able to put the phone down,
Yeah.
put the computer down, allow our children to get the physical fitness needed because our children are also dying of adult diseases due to the fact they're not getting a proper diet or exercise. They will starve themselves to stay in that room. They're not showering. They're not. There's all kind of things that go along with it. Not saying that we should not stay up on technology, but right now we're being ran by technology because some of us have allowed our technology to be babysitters instead of us raising our children.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned in Erie education and what we need to do in order to help facilitate that and to get our young folks a better education. The one thing that I have noticed, especially since I've been gone, I obviously live down here in Tampa, Florida now, but it started when I was actually in college when I attended Mercyhurst University. Um, the high schools in Erie, you used to have East High, you had Strong Vincent, you had Tech Memorial, you had Academy. Let me see, am I missing any? East, Strong Vincent, Tech, Academy. Um, and then you had your private schools where you had Cathedral Prep, Mercyhurst Prep, and then in the county, of course, in Mill Creek, you had McDowell. Now there's only two high schools right now. You got Collegiate Academy and let me see, and Erie High. So the
Hmm.
other schools have disbanded. Um, and I'm not sure why and what is going on. Like, how important is it for? Let me ask you this: how important is it, or was it, for the kids in the neighborhood to go to the schools in their neighborhood? Because that's how it was broken up. But now there's only two schools to go to. Is that a positive or a negative?
Well, it's not where they go, but what are they getting when they go?
Okay.
And are they getting educated, or are they just being cycled through for AYP scores and graduation totals, opposed to really preparing them for life?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, under the Bush administration, you know, test scores became the standard of school,
Mm-hmm.
not people scores. So now we're so into passing the test, we're failing in life. And since we're failing in educating our children don't know how to read a tape measure.
Right.
Our children don't know how to hammer a nail. At least when at a certain period of time, you had some type of marketable skill coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, technology has changed since we've been in school, because me and you remember a rotary phone. But the
Yes.
reality is, um, everybody can't be on a computer. But even if you are on the computer, do you have the critical thinking skills
Mm-hmm.
to think beyond being programmed where you can become a programmer? And it's like, I was reading some statistics that this is odd because Erie School District is 66% Black.
Yeah. Yeah.
66%.
Yep.
That's a high number.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells us as Black people, we need to be more concerned with the school and its education more than we are how the sports teams end up.
Right.
Um, Now, and I'm not against sports. I coached high school and junior college football for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not against sports whatsoever. But I am against sports taking a priority over the education of our children
Absolutely.
and what our interests are. Because when we were growing up, we knew how to at least spell a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
uh, know our alphabet, different things before we showed up to school.
Yeah.
Now we're having parents expecting the school to care about them like they should.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I want to shift a little bit back to
Hmm.
the July 2nd incident that happened to be um, the second time in the country where a parole agent shot and killed his parolee.
In the history of the country.
In the history of the country, the first time that it happened in the state of Pennsylvania. And now we have the first time in the country, the history of the country, where a parole agent was charged and arrested for that killing. And that's for Marcello Woodard from Kevin Seelinger. I want to ask you, because you came in town and spoke with our group, had a great conversation with them when we were the Justice for Cello Coalition. Um, how do you feel the community pressure um, led to the pressure that we put on the state led to where we're at right now.
Well, I think it's very important because if we look at the documents of this country, in the First Amendment is the freedom of speech and the right to protest. And if you uh, if you don't speak up and you don't go after what you need to do, then you are in fact complicit.
Yeah.
So the community said, look, we don't feel safe. And we don't believe that we will be safe with someone like that, with that type of authority to just take a man's life indiscriminately. Because what gets lost in the whole process is the brother only had 2 more weeks
Yes.
of parole.
Yes.
So, what happened to escalate a situation so much that he only had 2 weeks and he would no longer be on under your control
Right.
that you felt the need to kill him?
Yep.
But if the community would have just sat down and waited on law enforcement and waited on the district attorney, uh, they would have just swept that under the rug like so many other police shootings that go with no investigation.
Yeah.
And but I thought early on, and I told the coalition that the greatest thing that they had going for them then was the fact that the district attorney didn't come out right away and call it a clean shoot.
Yes. Yes. I thought that was very important. I still had the thought with how we know things pan out for us, that that was going to be the conclusion, which drove us to fight even harder, to go even
Right.
harder, to do the things that we did. And 169 days, Kevin Seelinger had freedom. He was able to enjoy the July 4th weekend with his family
Mm-hmm.
after taking a
Mm-hmm.
life. He was
Right.
able to um, show what he
Labor
was
Day.
thankful for. Yeah, Labor Day,
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
and then luckily on December 19th, we
Mm-hmm.
all heard that charges were brought against him and he was arrested. When you heard the news, what did you think?
I thought, okay, we're at another stop. We're at another step in the program.
Yeah,
But a prosecution does not mean a conviction. A conviction.
right.
And if there's no, so because we had something similar here. There was a young man by the name of Antoine Rose II, and Antoine was running from the police, and they put 3 bullets in his back. And what's interesting is that between 2019 and 2021, 6 black men were killed at the hands of law enforcement in Allegheny County.
Mm,
However, only Antoine Rose and his death, which was caught on film,
mhm.
uh, shut the county down.
Yeah,
And finally, the district attorney did prosecute the officer, Michael Rosfeld, but he was found not guilty.
mm,
So he's still walking the streets today. So this is a time that if you get that jury duty notice, you might
yeah,
want to answer that.
yeah,
You may want to make sure that you are performing the civic duty that you've allowed others outside the community to handle for us. It's time that we don't just let that summons notice go and hope they don't get us for it. But
right.
also, I thought it was very significant that the magistrates in Erie County did not give this young man bail.
Hmm.
Where in the case of Michael Rosfeld, he had bail, he got to live with his family and everything and do whatever, but they did not give him bail. And it's a serious enough case where they shipped him out of the county
Yeah.
for his own protection.
Right.
And had he to just thought of the protection, not of a parolee,
Hmm.
but as another human being,
Yeah.
it would have been much better. And I think the pressure mounted up because the coalition started finding out what authorizes a parole agent to have a gun,
Hmm.
what necessitates him having a gun. And it looked like he was uh, targeting Brother Marcello as opposed to just a routine checkup.
Yeah.
And with them trying to twist the words of his girlfriend, I was so proud of her
Yeah.
when she went to
Yes.
the city council and told them, no, you said I said something. I didn't say it. It was good to
That's
get
right.
that on a public record because
Absolutely.
and the coalition, they did so well because they didn't leave a stone unturned. And I was told by a legal team that it was one of the most organized groups there was,
Mm.
because in the pursuit of activism,
Yeah.
sometimes we become reactivists who just trying to look for a platform, but they
Yep.
stayed unified, focused, and got that part of it done. Now we won't be satisfied until there is, in fact, a conviction for this unjust killing.
I appreciate those kind words. We have been working really, really hard, and sometimes, you know, when you're out there working hard, you got some other community members that kind of throw stones a little bit, and it hurts a little bit, and they try to take you off of the main thing. And I've always said, keep the main thing, and that's fighting for justice for Cello, and that's what
Well,
we're going
when
to
it comes
continue
to
to do.
throwing stones, the
Yeah.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that one day there was a donkey
Hmm.
in a ditch, and everybody mocked the donkey and made fun of him, and they would just throw stones at him. And after a while, they threw so many stones that the donkey just walked right up out of the ditch. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, every knock is a boost. Every time someone's coming, it's boosting you up higher. So you just keep doing the work and you'll walk right into where you're supposed to be.
Um, Malcolm, Dr. King, Farrakhan. These guys have preached for years, given their life for the message
Mhm.
of where we stand. Why do you think that these things keep happening to black people?
Because it is an agenda. Um, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan pointed out to us the COINTELPRO program. And the COINTELPRO program of the United States government, with J. Edgar Hoover, he used biblical language, and it was to stop the rise of the Black Messiah who can electrify and unify the Black masses. Now, why would they want to do that? Well, you know, for years, people have said there needs to be an asterisk next to Barry Bonds because he used steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there should be an asterisk next to the American government because slavery was the steroid of the American economy.
Right.
And when you have an economy such as this exploitive system that does not have fair exchange, you always have to exploit who you're used to exploiting. So even with the 14th Amendment abolishing slavery, it left a trap door in it saying that slavery is hereby abolished except for one duly convicted of a crime.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, now there's more people in jail that was even ever on a slave plantation. And when we can start to compete, then you start seeing the anger with like a Jasmine Crockett or the group with Ilian Rashan, Ilian Omar, pardon me. And
Mm-hmm.
as these groups are coming together, now they're talking about that the civil rights movement hurt white men, not the fact that
Mm-hmm.
white men were hurting black people. And so this is why these things are happening and will continue to happen. But until we make a unified stand in a unified way, knowing that we have to have our own interests, we can no longer be Negroes for sale. We can no longer be those who continue to say, yeah, I know, but let's give it time. We have to have a concerted effort to, number one, make our communities a decent and safe place to live, educating our children properly, making sure we have good living conditions, and we're going to have to do that for ourselves. Section 8 hasn't done it, welfare hasn't done it, and school has not educated us in terms of self. And until we look in terms of self, this
Mm-hmm.
isn't reverse racism, this is intelligence.
Yeah.
And until we act intelligent enough that we have to do this as a people, then we will be respected and we can live among civilized society, among the best of civilized society. We got to stop people from controlling our music, stop people from controlling our entertainment, and allow ourselves to put out the right picture because we can't change the reflection. We have to change the projection.
I think the other thing that we need to do is we need to stop people from trying to control our activism. And that brings me into something I want to share with everybody. After 169 days, we get Kevin Seelinger locked up and charged. And just recently, myself, along with a number of other of my members from the Justice for Cello Coalition, received this attorney letter, and I wanted to read here and then get your reaction to this, Brother Victor. It says, Dear Mr. Woodard, kindly be advised that my firm represents the Woodard estate, including the family of Marcello Woodard. Now, when they say that, they're not talking about the entire family, they're talking about only a few, okay? It says, the family has asked me to reach out to discuss the ongoing campaign and media around the tragic death of Mr. Woodard. This was such a horrific event for the family, which I am certain you can understand. The family is grateful for the outpouring of support from the community, including the work you have done on its behalf. Notwithstanding, as we move forward with getting justice for the Woodard estate, we must be careful with the number of voices that are portrayed in the media. With that backdrop, I wanted to reach out to see if you could assist in that. We are asking that no one should be accepting any donations on behalf of the family, nor making grandiose public statements in the media on behalf of the family, quote unquote, without familiar permission. Kindly note that any solicitation, fundraising, false light portrayals, and or invasion of privacy will be immediately actionable, and we will pursue every legal avenue. Prior to legal action, we absolutely welcome a dialogue to determine an accord that would be beneficial for all parties involved, but failure to adhere to our requests will be met with swift legal action. Thank you kindly for your understanding and continued support. So I want to start off and say this. Number one, as a media member, I am protected by the First Amendment right, which is freedom of speech and freedom of press. Number two, we have not and never will accept any money. We have not done any fundraising. We are not accepting any donations at all for anything. Um, you know, Payment for me is justice. When you're an activist, the
Mm,
payment for your activism is justice. And that is what we all are fighting for. And I believe I can speak to all of my peers, with all my peers, for that particular statement. I also, for the record, want to make note that he said that he would love to have a dialogue to determine an accord that would be beneficial for all parties. I, of course, responded to him via email, and we got this letter about a week and a half ago, and I have
mm,
not heard one word. I would welcome a Zoom call. We could all go in. and speak about what we did. But you know, the slap in the face for me, Brother Victor, is we get this letter from an attorney after he's arrested. Now, we still got a long way to go because he still needs to be convicted, right?
Right.
But we get this after 169 days of hard work and pushing the narrative. And we know that without the community outcry, this, where we're at right now with Kevin Sealander being locked up, probably would not have happened. Um, I mean, it says the family is grateful for the outpouring of support from the community. I mean, if that's the thank you that we get, that's the meat inside of the buns of this letter. That's, I'm not doing this for a thank you, but no one said, hey, thanks for all the things that you've done, for the family and getting this guy locked up. Instead, here's an attorney letter. You and I talked about this off camera before. What's your thoughts on just the divide in the community when we're all out for the same thing and the accusations that just are not true?
Well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan pointed out to us in the Holy Quran that we do no good seeking gain. We do good because that's what God deems and dictates to us.
Yes.
But also, uh, we cannot, we're not um, ignorant to the reality that the family is grieving
Mm-hmm.
and that they need their space to do such.
Yes.
More in detail, it seems that that was an estate attorney
Yeah.
and they're dealing with the estate. And unfortunately, in the world of activism, it's been proven that some people have taken advantage of families' grief
Yeah.
and different things. And if he's protecting the family, fine, then protect the family. But
Yeah.
let us be clear.
Mm-hmm.
When we speak on behalf of justice, we're not speaking on behalf of the estate.
Correct.
Because this man being prosecuted is not the estate of Marcello Woodard prosecuting the offender. It is the state of Pennsylvania
Exactly.
that is charging this individual.
Yes.
So if we speak to the claim as a citizen, we
Yes.
have every right to do so, but we have the compassion in our heart to allow the family to grieve and settle their affairs in the most simplest terms and manner.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to pull the family in. We're telling the family, look, we got you. We're going to deal
Yeah.
with the criminal part of it. We're not looking
Yes.
for the financial part of it because whatever you're owed, that's going to be a federal case anyway. It's
Right.
not going to be in the state of Pennsylvania, though those in Pennsylvania will be held responsible.
Absolutely.
But like I said at the beginning of this interview,
Mm-hmm.
activism called me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't looking to get off my couch. I wasn't looking to get off the football field. I
Yeah.
wasn't looking to get out of the military. But
Right.
it called me. And when you do certain things, this probably will not be the last case that Erie sees, that
Correct.
other things have to be done. And there
Mm-hmm.
are some mechanisms that have to be supported, but it will not be in Cello's name, but don't take away from the fact that you had a history and impact to show your value to the overall community, and
Yeah.
anything that we can do to help the family in particular, we're going to do, and we're not going to vainly raise some funds in his name.
Absolutely, 100%. I appreciate your remarks on that. That's the first time that I actually shared that letter publicly with anybody, and I wanted to get you, my brother, your take on how we proceed, and of course, nothing changes on our part. We continue to fight for justice for Cello because that's what my payment is, as an activist. And like you said, we got the call. The activism called us We just happen to answer the phone that day. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'll answer it again if I need to. And that is why we are sharing, especially on my podcast, a number of these national stories. I'm talking to different families, and they're educating us on how to handle things. And I got you on
Mhm.
here as a subject matter expert to help us navigate through what we're
I'm,
going
I'm,
through.
I'm not an expert. I
But
do the best I can, but I'm not an
absolutely,
expert. But we should not let this moment
yeah,
not turn into a movement.
absolutely,
See,
absolutely,
because if it's just a moment, then it's just something that goes on the screen, off the screen, then
right,
they can go back to business as usual.
yeah,
If we keep this moment into a movement, we gain momentum, and now we have to be dealt with at a different way and on a different level.
yes, yes, absolutely. I've always said, I mean, I take this from Neo's song. Um, I'm a movement by myself, but we're a force when
Of
we're
course,
together.
when we're together,
And
that's
I'm gonna
right.
tell you, it's
Mhm.
it's it's something else when we all come together. So community activism is needed. Advocacy is needed. Let us continue to do what we need to do to continue to fight for justice for Chella. And you mentioned earlier too about when we talk about Erie, um, the Nation of Islam has an initiative to do what? Tell me about this.
We must make our communities a decent and safe place to live.
Yes.
When you hear the word decent, it doesn't just mean nice.
Yeah.
See, we can't have activism without morality.
Right.
We can't have we have these going back and forth because there's not an understanding and love of self. We have to reinvest in our spiritual fortitude and our righteousness because in this day we're controlled by our emotions
Mm-hmm.
and we can no longer let that happen. It's okay to be angry, but we can't act off of anger.
Right.
We have a study guide in the Nation of Islam that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us called Rising Above Emotion into the Thinking of God. Because it's not that God and people don't have emotions, but
Mm-hmm.
our decisions cannot be made off of them. We must stop reacting and start responding. And up here a couple of years ago, Damar Hamlin fell on the football field,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole world reacted. Oh my God! And that was the reaction, and they stopped the football game.
Yeah.
But responder saved his life. A response signifies intelligence and training. See, we must respond to our issues. We cannot always react.
Mm-hmm.
And when we become a moral people, a clean people, a people considerate of others,
Mm-hmm.
stop being so self-absorbed. We'd rather get Facebook advice
Right.
than to get God advice.
Yes.
And this doesn't mean you have to join the Nation of Islam, but
Right.
you should be joining some community organization. There's churches in Erie that would be glad to have our help. There's other organizations, but we need to do that as a community.
Yeah.
In the early 80s, in the mid 80s, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was on a tour for Power at Last Forever. And it was the community, it was ecumenical, it was not just the Muslims. See, when we get involved, everybody, oh my God, it's the Muslims. But no, it is Minister Farrakhan. 85% of the Million Man March were non-Muslims.
Mm.
85% of the Million Man March
Wow.
was Christian.
Yeah.
So we have the track record under his leadership that
Mm-hmm.
we're able to appeal to vast denominations and religions that we can speak the language of civilization. And that's what has to happen in Erie. And we
And,
have to get involved.
and I think you just proved my point of my next question. 85% of the men at the Million Man March were Christians, and they joined Muslims. You got two different religions fighting for the same common cause. which is similar to two different groups of the community in Erie, Pennsylvania, fighting for the same common cause. How important is it to have similar and different groups fighting for the same common cause, but not trying to undercut each other?
Right. Well, but also, it wasn't just two different religions. We had the
Yeah.
Hebrew Israelites there.
Yes,
We had
absolutely.
Crips and Bloods there. And
Yeah.
I'm giving you a personal testimony.
Yeah.
I saw a Crip walking. He wasn't doing the Crip walk, but he was walking in the mall
Yeah.
and a blood stepped on his shoe.
Wow.
And God forbid you step on a black man's sneaker.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and the blood said, "Oh, brother, 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 I'm sorry." Now this was to a Crip.
Yeah.
And the Crip said, "You know what, brother, my foot shouldn't even have been in the way."
Wow.
See, the spirit of the march. Not
Mm.
only did the march bring people together,
Yeah.
it shut the government down.
Yeah.
People forget what happened on that day.
Yeah.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "Our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb
Mm.
because our unity changes the mindset of the one whose finger is on the button."
Yeah.
See, when we look at all that we've been through and we've accepted from our oppressors, the little bit of offense that we have among each other,
Hmm.
we need to overlook and put, as God does, in the sea of forgetfulness, and take those 8 steps of atonement that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave for the Million Man March. See, we keep making the mistake that the Million Man March was a moment,
Right.
but the Million Man March was a movement. We've
Absolutely.
had a day of atonement where we're supposed to sit down and reconcile and settle our differences for the last 30 years, going on 31 years now.
Yeah.
And these are principles that are still in place.
Yeah.
If activated on the community, in the community, and on the community, we can sit down and settle beefs. We can stop all this back and forth, and possibly we can force our artists to put out better music, and we can stop powerful black men from attacking powerful black women in the media.
How important is it to continue to allow a movement to keep on moving?
Well, that's the thing. If we must make our communities a decent and safe place to live,
Yeah.
we're not asking for permission.
Yeah.
No one has to let it happen. We have to make it happen
Hmm.
because it's an imperative not for us, but for the generations coming behind us that we straighten this mess out before
Yeah.
we leave. You and I, brother, are planting seeds for trees we're not going to get shade from.
Yeah. 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 You're right. You're 100% right. You mentioned that in the next couple of weeks you're going to be making a trip up to Erie.
Yes.
What is the extent of your trip? What is the purpose?
To make our communities a decent and safe place to live,
Yeah.
to bring factions together
Yeah.
because factions make fractions and fractions are division. We want to bring them together in the whole, in the oneness that Paul spoke about with Christ. There's no bond, no free, no male, no female, no Jew, no Gentile. We have to bring our people together. We cannot keep a wait and see attitude on how things go. We have to get involved, and we can do as the Bible says and make the wasted city. Who will rebuild the wasted cities? The Bible wasn't interested in the city, they were interested in the people. If you
Yes.
rebuild the people, the city will follow.
Absolutely. Brother Victor, I want to thank you so much for not only joining me tonight, but enlightening um, my viewing audience as well as myself, the experience that you have in your advocacy work and how you see things, and more importantly, where you want Erie to be going forward. I really appreciate it. I wanted to give you some final thoughts here, last parting words for the Erie community.
Well, thank you so much. It was an honor to be on your podcast. You have such a beautiful program going, and we're wishing you many years of success. From what I understand, you on your year anniversary, and we thank God for you. We want to come to Erie, unify the people, and move forward so that we can put programs in place that can systematically put us in positions of success and power.
I appreciate you, Brother Victor. Brother Victor, student minister from Muhammad Mosque 22, joining us tonight. I really appreciate all your insight and you spending this time with me. And you are welcome back on Etcetera with the Woodard at any time. And maybe we'll get back together in a couple of weeks and we could talk about your trip up to Erie and how things went. How about we do that?
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, please just give it up for student minister Victor Muhammad. Really appreciate him joining us tonight on episode 69 of Etcetera with the Woodards. It's been a blessed night. I've really enjoyed my conversation with student minister Victor Muhammad, and we're looking to continue to bring you some great content, great interviews, great people coming up. Stay tuned. I'll have somebody for you on Wednesday night at probably, we're going to move to about 8 or 8:30 because as me and student minister Victor figured out, like, wait a minute, we had time change last night, and so it's still light.
And this is Ramadan. I stayed on beyond, so thank you, brother. My wife was so gracious to bring me some water.
And you said when duty calls, we answer, man. And I appreciate you staying on with us, man. I really do, especially through Ramadan. We're going to see everybody on Wednesday night. For student minister Victor Muhammad, I'm Craig Woodard Sr. Thank you all. We'll see you on Wednesday night.